Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video, we're going to show you how to change out the GE dryer front drum support. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new front drum support. The front drum support is what supports the front of the dryer drum. The main reason to be changing it out is if it's damaged and the dryer's not spinning properly. In order to change the part, we have to take the dryer apart. First thing we're going to do is open up the door. Once you have the door open, we're going to remove these two screws that hold the top on. We're going to use a Phillips screwdriver to take them out. Once you have them out, we're going to close the door and go around back. Now we're going to use the corner nut driver to take out the screws that hold the access panel on. Then we can lift the panel up, take it off. And we're going to use a small flathead screwdriver to help take the ground wire off if it's tight. Once you have it off, you can set the panel aside. Now that we have the back panel off, we have access to the control board. There's a lot of wires in here, so if you need to, take a picture of it so you remember where they go. They're all held on by locking tabs, so we're going to reach in and press the locking tabs and pull them off. Now that we have all the wires off the controls, we have to take the Ethernet plug off. There's a little locking tab on this side. So we're just going to take a small flathead screwdriver and press in, and then press on it. And then just let it go. Once you have the Ethernet plug out, we're going to use the quarter-inch nut driver to take out the long screws that hold on the control panel. Once you have the screws out, there's just a bunch of tabs around the control panel that hold it in. So we're just going to pull back to release them, and you can lift it off and set it aside. Now we have to get the wires down through the top of the dryer. They have these little covers on each side, so we're going to use the corner nut driver to take out the screws that hold them in. Once you have the screw out, you just lift up on the cover and pull it out and set it aside. Then we're going to take the wires out of the little holder right here. Just need to unclip it. And then carefully feed the wires down through the hole so we can take the top off. Once you have this side down, we can do the other side. Then we're going to use the Phillips screwdriver to remove the screw on each side that holds the top to the cabinet. There's some tabs in the front, so we're just going to lift up on a little bit. And then there's part of the top goes underneath the lip on the cabinet. So we're going to lift up on it and then push it back and then lift it off and set it aside. Now that we have the dryer top off, we have access to the front drum support assembly. It's right here on the front panel. We're going to have to take this front panel off and pull it forward a little bit so we can get it out. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the wiring harness for the light. All you have to do is press the release and pull it off. And then the wiring harness is clipped onto the panel here. So we're just going to take a pliers and release that and drop it down. Now we're going to open up the door, and we have to remove these two screws that hold the assembly onto the front bulkhead. I'm just going to use the Phillips screwdriver and take them out. Once you have them out, we're going to close the door again. Now we're going to remove the two screws that hold the front panel on. We're going to use the quarter-inch nut driver to take them out. As you're taking this last screw out, you want to hold on to the front panel so it doesn't drop. Now we're going to pull the front panel towards us and make sure the drum doesn't drop down. Just let it go softly. And we're not going to take the panel off all the way. We're just going to open it. There's some wiring harnesses down there that you don't want to pull on. To get the assembly off, there's a locking tab on each side. We're just kind of flex on it and pull the assembly out. Once you have them both released, you should be able to just lift the whole assembly out. Since we don't want the front panel to fall, we're going to put a screw in to hold it on. We're going to lift up a little bit on the drum so the lower support goes in. And then you have to make sure over here on the side that these tabs go into the slots on each panel. And then we can use the 1/4" nut driver to put one of the screws in. Here's the old front drum support next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. Before we put it in, we have to swap all the old parts out to the new one. First thing we have to do is change out the light. If yours has one, we're going to have to knock out the plug. So you can just use a flathead screwdriver or whatever just to pop it out. It's just held in there by some tabs. Then on the old assembly, we have to take the wiring harnesses off. So we're just going to take a pliers and press these tabs on each side. We can set it down, and there's a little spring clip on each side of the light right here. We're just going to press it down through the opening and pull it through. Then we're going to swap over the shield. Just want to lift it off and put it onto the new one. Then we can lift the new one up and feed the wiring harness through the opening. Carefully pull it through. As you're pulling it through, you want to make sure the light is lined up the right way. You'll notice that there's a narrow clip and a wide clip. If you try to put it in the wrong way, you won't be able to get it snapped in. Once you have it snapped in, we can attach the wiring harness. All you have to do is press these in to lock them in. Now we're going to turn the assemblies over so we can swap over the glides and the felt pads. If yours are worn out, you can always replace them. But we're going to swap ours over because they're still pretty good. So we're just going to take a small flathead screwdriver, and there's usually a little locking tab that it hooks onto, and then the other end just pushes into the fitting. So we're just going to use a flathead screwdriver to pull it off and off the tab. And then we're going to put it on the new one. Same thing, we're going to hook it on. And then push it down into the opening. We're going to do that to all four of them. Once you have them swapped over, we can swap over the felt pads. These are just pressed into the support. So we're just going to grab a pliers and pull them out and push it into the new one. Once you have everything swapped over, we can put the new front drum support in. Once you're ready to put the new part in, we're going to use the 1/4" nut driver to take out that screw and then let the panel drop forward. And then we're going to grab the new part, and we're going to have to slip it down into these little cutouts right here. You may have to reach down there with a small flathead screwdriver to flex on the lower bulkhead if you can't get it to line up. Then we're going to grab the part and put it down into the lower assembly. Just have to line it up and slip it down in there. Make sure the light wiring harness doesn't get caught in there. We can do the other side. This is where you may have to reach down right here and kind of flex it with the flathead screwdriver in order to get it to drop down. Once you have the lower side in, we can just snap in these two tabs right here and secure it in place. And then we have to lift the front panel back into place. Same as before, when you put it up temporarily, you want to make sure that these tabs go on each side. And lift up the drum so it goes on the top of the new piece. Once you have it in, we can use the 1/4-inch nut driver to put in the screws that hold the front panel on. Then we're going to hook up the wiring harness. We're just going to push the little mounting tab into the hole in the front panel and then connect the wiring harness. Once you have the wiring harness connected, we're going to open the dryer door. Then we're going to use the Phillips screwdriver to put in the screws that hold the front drum support assembly to the front panel. Once you have the screws in, we can close the door and put the rest of the dryer back together. You want to make sure that the lip of the top goes underneath the panel here so it locks it in place. And as you lower it down, you want to make sure that these tabs go up into the top so it's lined up properly. And slide it forward. Once you have it in place, we're just going to pull the wires out, make sure they don't get pinched in between the top and the cabinet when we're putting it on. Once you have the wires out, we're going to come to the front and open up the door. Then we can use the Phillips screwdriver to put in the screws to hold the top to the cabinet. You might have to pull the top forward a little bit to get the holes to line up. Once you have the screws in, we can close the door. Now we can put the screws on in the back. We're just going to line them up and put them in. Then we can use the Phillips screwdriver to tighten them down. Now we can put the covers on and route the wires. We're just going to put the feet down into the little openings. And then we can use the 1/4-inch nut driver to put the screw in. Then we can grab the wire and run it through the holder, lock it in place. Once you have this one done, you can do the other side. To put the control panel in, you have to make sure all these tabs and openings line up around it, and then push it forward to lock it in place. Once you have those on, we can use the 1/4-inch nut driver to put in the screws to hold it down. Now we can reconnect all the wires. First thing we're going to do is reconnect the Ethernet wire. There's a little tab down here at the bottom that you have to line up, and you're going to push this side in first so it hooks over here, and then snap the other side in. Now we can attach the rest of the wires to the control board. We're just going to follow the Ethernet cable up to this one. It goes right up here on the board. Just want to make sure these click in and get good connection on them all. The next one is the pink, gray, and green. It's going to go right up here. Then we have this one that goes on the other end of the board. It's the white, black, and yellow. And then we have the relay wires, which, remember, there was the relay with the blue wire and the relay with the purple wire that matched the stickers. Then we can grab the red and black wire from the other end. It plugs right up here in the control board. Once you have all the wires on, we can put the access panel back on. To put it on, we just want to grab the ground wire and push it onto the ground terminal. Once you have the wire in, we're going to lift up the access panel so the little feet go into the holders and let it drop down into place. Then we're going to use the 1/4" nut driver to put in the screws. Now that we have the dryer put back together, you can plug it in and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.